Ezra Sai and I are the notorious toxic couple in our circle. He kept mistresses to provoke me, so I ran over his legs with my car. He secretly paid tribute to his white moonlight behind my back, so I smashed the tombstone of his beloved. We've been entangled in this deadly feud for 20 years, cursing each other to die miserably countless times. But when we were both bitten by the venomous snake, he gave the last dose of antidote to me. In his dying moments, he said to me, "Dina, in this life, I owe you nothing. In the next life, let me go and allow me to be with Lena." Okay, Lena is my younger sister. She was also the fake heiress our entire family cherished dearly. In the end, it turned out, they all loved her. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to that night when I was drugged and framed. I used a fruit knife to stab my thigh to keep myself as calm as possible. Then I turned and walked away. In this lifetime, let's go our separate ways, each to their own path. Ezra Sai died with his eyes wide open, leaving with regret, because I stubbornly refused to promise to let him go in the next life and allow him to be with Lena Jiang. I even deliberately taunted him. "You still dream of having another life with Lena Jiang. Keep dreaming, you will always be mine. In this life, you're my husband, Dina Jiang, and even in death, you'll remain my ghost." He stared at me with a deathly gaze, then struggled to take his last breath. The Sai family resented me for showing no mercy. They forbade me from attending his funeral, yet I went anyway. I'm not the pampered young lady raised by the Jiang family since childhood, but a ruthless woman who clawed her way up from the orphanage. I knocked out the people they left to guard me, climbed down from the balcony. Even if I ended up covered in blood from the fall, I didn't care. But when I rushed to the funeral, I saw that it was Lena Jiang's ashes being buried together with Ezra Sai. So, they didn't want me to come. They wanted Ezra Sai and Lena Jiang to be buried together. What about me? What about me, Ezra Sai's childhood sweetheart who stayed by his side for 20 years? Where will I be buried after I die? I staggered unsteadily. My son, whom I carried for 10 months and struggled to bring into this world, quickly stepped forward to block my path. He said with a look of disgust, "Mom, isn't it enough that you caused Dad's death? Do you have to ruin his last wish too?" My throat ached unbearably. Hoarsely, I said, "Xiaozi, but your father's dying wish was to be buried with another woman. Are you going to make Mom endure this too?" The son reacted fiercely, saying, "She's not just any other woman. She's Mom Lena. In my heart, she's 10,000 times better than you. If I had known you were this malicious, I would have wished Dad divorced you sooner to be with Mom Lena. It's better than letting Dad live with lifelong regret." Hearing this, my mother, who lost me for 18 years before bringing me home yet never loved me for a single day, also cried with reddened eyes and said, "Yes, we should have let Lena and Ezra Sai be together back then. You and that boy from the Hua family share the same strange temperament. You deserve to torment each other." Father and brother also looked at me with hatred. "Yes, we should have let you marry that cold-hearted thing from the Hua family. A single misjudgment has truly ruined our Lena's life for nothing." I looked at these faces staring at me as if I were their enemy. I just find it laughable in my heart. Back then, it was clearly them who looked down on the Sai family for not being as wealthy as the Hua family. They couldn't bear to let their beloved Lena suffer by marrying into such circumstances, so they schemed to have me and Lena Jiang switch marriages. How is it that now I'm the only one being treated as the sinner? I look at them as if they were clowns. Then I kicked over my son who was blocking my way. Ezra Sai married me, so he's mine. Dream on if you think he can be buried with another woman. I'd rather die today than let Lena Jiang's ashes stay here. But the moment I took a step toward Ezra Sai's gravestone, I froze in place. It was a shared burial plot. The tombstone that originally belonged to Ezra Sai was inscribed with Ezra Sai, "Resting here with my beloved Lena, may we be united in love for all eternity." In this life and the next, at that moment, the tears that had been welling up in her eyes for so long finally fell. So it was, Ezra Sai never truly loved me. In this world, I have always been alone. There are no more obsessions left in my heart. I collapsed heavily to the ground. Ezra Sai, I promise you, if there is a next life, I'll make it happen for you. The air was suddenly thick with the heavy scent of alcohol. A scorching body pressed against me from behind. I never expected that when I opened my eyes again, I actually reincarnated. I reincarnated back to the night when Ezra Sai and I were drugged and set up. It was Lena Jiang's 20th birthday banquet. For some unknown reason, Ezra Sai and I were inexplicably sent to the same bed. In 10 minutes, the little princess Lena Jiang will push open this door with her girlfriends. Then begins the tragedy of our lives. A pair of strong arms suddenly wrapped around my waist. The scent of pine from the man densely enveloped me. The familiarity almost brought me to tears, yet I knew, this scent, like its owner, did not belong to me. I bit my tongue until it bled, forcing myself to stay alert. But breaking free from Ezra Sai's arms wrapped around me proved difficult. But now, with my whole body weak and limp, I'm no match for Ezra Sai. In my dazed and groggy state, I suddenly heard Ezra Sai whimper a sentence, "Dina Jiang. Don't even think about getting close to me again in this lifetime." It was almost instantaneous. I came to my senses. I grabbed the fruit knife from the nightstand and stabbed my own thigh hard. Then I knocked out Ezra Sai, who was still trying to cling to me, with the bedside lamp. Finally, I glanced at the unconscious man, left without looking back. So, Ezra Sai has also been reborn. How nice. In this life, I won't cling to you anymore. Now you can have what you always wanted. The second after I left that house, Lena Jiang and her little sisters arrived as promised. Pushing open the door, they found only the unconscious Ezra Sai in the room. Not seeing me, Lena Jiang's face twisted for a moment, but she quickly concealed it. Ezra Sai let out an unbearable whimper. His unusual behavior was quickly noticed by her girlfriends, who were all part of the same circle. They had seen all kinds of tricks before. Almost instantly, everyone guessed the whole story. They were certain that someone had plotted against Ezra Sai, the fiancé of the most favored daughter of the Jiang family. They made a grand scene, clamoring to find the culprit. Someone maliciously shouted my name loudly. "It must be that Nanny's daughter from your family. She's jealous of your good relationship with Ezra Sai, so she deliberately set him up. That's absolutely vicious." Lena Jiang, holding the still unconscious Ezra Sai, said weakly with tears in her eyes, "Don't say that about Dina. Even though she's had a crush on Ezra Sai for a long time, she would never do something like that." My unfairly biased older brother immediately chimed in, "Lena, you're just too kind-hearted. That Dina woman not only likes to steal your identity, but now she's trying to steal your man too. If I find out it was really her doing, I'll make sure she regrets it." That's exactly how they were in my past life. They condemned me without even hearing me out. Even though I screamed myself hoarse saying I was framed too, no one believed me either. No one thought the daughter of a nanny could be someone of high moral character. They were convinced in their hearts that I was a shameless woman who would stop at nothing to climb the social ladder. But that couldn't be further from the truth. But they don't know, actually, I am the true Miss Jiang of this family. After the Lin family found me, they never publicly revealed my identity. Because of Lena Jiang's intentional or unintentional influence, everyone even thought I was the daughter of the Lin family's nanny. It wasn't that I hadn't tried to explain, but all I got in return was more mockery and sarcasm. They said I was so jealous of Lena Jiang that I'd developed delusions. How dare you delude yourself into thinking you're the biological daughter of the Lin family? Countless malicious intentions enveloped me, nearly driving me insane. Yet not a single person stepped forward to help me. Even my own biological parents and brother stood against me, looking down on me with disdain, accusing me of using despicable means and having a wicked heart. This scene became my nightmare for the next 20 years. Fortunately, in this lifetime, I never have to go through all this again. I no longer care about the right and wrong in the house. I went out and made a phone call. Quittinction. I agree to what you mentioned last time about moving the wedding forward. Also, could you send someone over to help me with a small favor? I might need to go to the hospital. 10 minutes later, a black Bentley appeared right in front of me. As the car door opened, Quittinction's cold and noble face came into view. This noble monk from the capital, no matter when you see him, always maintains this aloof demeanor that keeps people at arm's length. In her past life, Lena Jiang married him as she wished, yet, to her surprise, he truly lived up to his reputation of being cold and unapproachable. Even if she stood naked before him, He wouldn't give her a second glance. In the end, Lena Jiang couldn't bear the loneliness and went out to find male escorts. Little did she expect to contract a filthy disease. Ultimately, it was her fear of the scandal being exposed that drove her to take her own life. Never expected such a woman. Made Ezra Sai remember her for a lifetime, and hated me for a lifetime. I concealed the mockery and hatred in my eyes and calmly thanked Huitingshan. Huitingshan tilted his strikingly handsome profile, glancing at my disheveled state, his fine brows furrowed almost imperceptibly. "You're welcome." After a moment of contemplation, he said, "From now on, we're family. If you need anything, don't hesitate to tell me. After all, you're Grandpa's lifesaver. Grandpa insisted I treat you well." Exceptionally well. Huitingshan's words made my eyes well up. In my previous life, I accidentally saved Grandpa Hua when he fainted from a heart attack, the former patriarch of the Hua family, whom the Lin and Sai families could only dream of associating with. After learning about my background, he looked at me with pity and said he wanted to introduce me to a good match, ensure my lifelong peace and happiness. As it turned out, this ideal match was none other than his grandson, Huitingshan. Yet, who could have anticipated? In the end, through a series of unexpected twists, I didn't marry Huitingshan, nor did I live a carefree life as the old man had hoped. Instead, I tasted all the bitterness of the world. But the old man's genuine affection for me was real. When he was on his deathbed, he still remembered to instruct Huitingshan to take care of me. That's why the businesses of the Jiang and Sai families flourished later on. Lena Jiang caused such a scandal, yet Huitingshan didn't expose it, sparing the Jiang family from public humiliation. This lifetime, I no longer wished to bestow this kindness upon them. After receiving intravenous fluids at the hospital for half the night, I finally returned home the next morning with unsteady steps. Yet, I never expected that upon opening the villa's front door, the Jiang family, who used to leave for work early in the past, were all gathered in the living room today without exception. Lena Jiang saw me, as if frightened. She hid her face in her mother's arms. Seeing this, my brother immediately rushed to me in anger. He slapped me hard across the face. "You wretched bastard finally came back. Kneel down before me now." Feeling the sting on my face, I stared fixedly at the man before me. He is my biological brother. I used to like him so much. During those years when I was bullied by the kids at the orphanage, I dreamed of having an older brother to protect me. Later, I never expected that I actually would. On the day the Jiang family found me, I looked at him with eager anticipation, dreaming that he could be like those older brothers in TV dramas, protecting me, trusting me. He was briefly kind to me too. He looked at the wounds on my body, said, "Dina, don't worry, with me here, I won't let anyone bully you anymore." But the moment Lena Jiang cries, he forgets everything. Bad seed, bitch, punching and kicking. Whenever Lena Jiang feels wronged, all means are mercilessly used against me. In my past life, all because of this shallow familial bond, I've been in pain for a long time. I always thought it was because I wasn't good enough. That's why my family didn't like me. But now, I know, they just don't love me. It's no big deal. Back when I was bullied by older kids in the orphanage, when I was molested by that unscrupulous teacher, how I wished they would descend from the heavens to protect me. But they never showed up, not even once. That was the moment I understood. The only one I could rely on was myself. I used my teeth, my fists, and that reckless ferocity to turn myself into a villainess. I protected myself. Now, I should do the same. Always love yourself, always protect yourself. So, the next second, my slap also landed on Jiang Caoyang's face. "Idiot. How dare you hit me?" My slap was too swift, leaving everyone frozen in place. They never imagined that I, the pitiful wretch who used to grovel for affection, would stoop so low, dare to lay hands on their favorite brother, until Lena Jiang burst into tears. "Sister, how could you hit brother? I know you don't like me, you despise me, you hate me for stealing your identity, for taking away your fiancé, brother Ezra Sai, but no matter how you hit me or deal with me, could you please not take it out on brother?" Jiang Chaoyang came to his senses, his face flushing red with anger. "Lena, don't cry. That kind of lowly woman who resorts to such cheap tricks as drugging, She's not worth a single tear from you. To think you even gave up your identity for her. Listen well, Dina Jiang. I, Jiang Chaoyang, only acknowledge Lena as my sister. A wicked seed like you, straight out of an orphanage, isn't even worthy. As I stared at Jiang Chaoyang's arrogant expression, I suddenly felt it was all utterly absurd. I could no longer hold back from asking the question that had puzzled me for 2 lifetimes. Brother, how can you say so effortlessly that you look down on me for being from an orphanage and that I'm unworthy of being your sister? Yet it was you who lost me in the first place because you were too busy playing. Yes, if Jiang Chaoyang hadn't been so careless and playful back then, begging his parents to take him on the roller coaster, 1 ride wasn't enough, had to go for a 2nd round, and then a 3rd, even though Mom said my sister was too young to be left alone at the ticket counter, he wouldn't listen. That day, while Jiang Chaoyang was riding the roller coaster for the 4th time, I was taken away. Later, they couldn't find me. Not only did Jiang Chaoyang not feel guilty, he didn't even bother to look for me. She even took the initiative to suggest that my parents adopt a child about my age. From then on, they gave all their guilt and love for me to another child, and when I came back, yet they despise my origins, accusing me of lacking nobility. But what fault is it of mine? Jiang Chaoyang, for once, guiltily fell silent, but in the end, I couldn't suppress my anger and added, but that's no reason for you to resent Lena. If you hate me, you can take it out on me directly. Why drug Ezra Sai and make Lena upset? I let out a cold laugh. I drugged Ezra Sai. Did you see it? Jiang Chaoyang said with righteous indignation. I didn't, but it must be you. Who else in this family hates Lena so much and has a crush on Ezra Sai besides you? I gritted my teeth in anger. You're quite the speculator, you fool. Do you not know that convicting someone requires evidence, with so many surveillance cameras at home? Why don't you check the footage to find out who dared to drug you right under your nose, young Master Jiang? Wouldn't that be better? Jiang Chaoyang said thoughtfully. Oh right, we have surveillance at home, it must have captured who did it. I'll go to the surveillance room right now to get the evidence and slap the truth in your face. You troublemaker. Ever since being reborn, I had resolved not to be hurt by this family's favoritism anymore, but at this moment, my heart still aches. How certain are they that I was the one who did this? They didn't even bother to check the surveillance footage, they just easily convicted me. Just when I thought things might take a turn for the better, my mother, holding Lena Jiang, who was clearly avoiding eye contact, threw a vase at me without hesitation. I couldn't dodge in time. Blood immediately seeped from my forehead. Enough. My mother looked at me coldly and said, hasn't this family suffered enough from your actions since you returned? Last night, the entire capital city was laughing at our Jiang family, 2 sisters fighting over 1 man, and it's your own brother-in-law. How could you be so shameless? Since you like Ezra Sai so much that you'd even drug him, there's no need to argue anymore. I'll make the decision. Lena will give Ezra Sai to you. After all, when we made the engagement arrangement with the Sai family, it was you they originally intended for. In a few days, when the Sai family comes to propose, you can marry him in Lena's place. Me, marry him. What about Lena Jiang? Just like in my past life, will she marry into the Hua family in my place? Again, the same old story, they just won't give up on stealing my fate in marriage, truly relentless. I looked at the woman before me with utter disappointment as she spoke these words so casually. Her eyes seemed to weep tears of blood. She is my mother. I once adored her beyond measure. Every day in the orphanage, I missed her terribly. Afraid that my small self would forget her face, every day, I forced myself to sketch her image in my mind over and over again. No one knows how much I've missed her all these years, so much so that when I finally saw her again, I was utterly disappointed. She held the fake daughter tightly in her arms. Looking at me with a guarded expression, she said to Lena Jiang in her arms with heartache, "Don't be afraid, Lena. Even if she were my biological child, she would never surpass you in this lifetime." That moment, it felt like they had abandoned me once again. I blinked hard to fight back the tears in my eyes, because I knew, tears shed by those who don't love you, even if you cry yourself to death, it's useless. Besides, I've shed too many tears in my past life. This lifetime, I only want to laugh. This time, It's their turn to shed tears. I looked at the malicious and smug faces of my mother and Lena Jiang and said, "Do you think Ezra Sai knows about you making me and Lena Jiang switch marriages? He loves Lena so much, he wouldn't agree to this, would he?" Lena Jiang blinked unnaturally and said, "Ezra Sai knows I feel guilty towards you in my heart. He will understand me. Sister, don't worry, Ezra Sai is a good man. If you marry him, he will surely treat you well. Let's just say it wasn't meant to be between him and me." I look at Lena Jiang's face. I don't know how there could be such a shameless, hypocritical bitch like her in this world. She can blatantly justify taking advantage of me with such high-sounding words. Her calculations are just too obvious. I smiled and said, "What about Hu Tingshan? Jiang Chaoyang might not know, but Mom and Dad, you should be aware, the Hu family wants to marry a daughter of the Jiang family, and they'll be coming to propose in a few days. I marry Ezra Sai, while the powerful Hu family will be matched with Lena Jiang." "Right, but you've forgotten, it was me who saved the Hu family's patriarch. It's me that the Hu family wants to marry. Mom, Dad, am I really your biological child? Why are you so biased?" Jiang Chaoyang was shocked, his mouth agape. "Mom and Dad, what does Dina Jiang mean by what she said? The Hu family, Hu Tingshan, actually wants to marry Dina Jiang. And Dina Jiang actually saved the old master of the Hu family. How come I didn't know anything about this?" "Enough." After such a long time, Father Jiang finally spoke. He looked at me quietly, as if gazing at a disobedient daughter. Then he spoke to me in a grave tone. "Dina, it's not that we look down on you, nor that Mom and Dad don't love you. You've lived in the orphanage for so many years. Your manners and social graces naturally can't compare to your sisters. We arranged for you and Lena to switch marriages, actually for your own good. The Hu family is vast and powerful, with intricate internal connections. You can't imagine how complicated it is. With your temperament, I guarantee you wouldn't last a few days in the Hu family before being completely devoured. Only by having Lena marry into their family can we achieve a true alliance through marriage. You know, our Jiang family has been lingering on the outskirts of the upper-class circle in the capital for so many years, unable to advance even a step further. What a perfect opportunity this is now. Just obediently marry into the simple Sai family and live a stable life, letting your younger sister marry into the Hu family in your place." "Alright," I looked at the affectionate light in Father Jiang's eyes. I just wanted to sneer in my heart. If it really was like this, why didn't they talk to me properly from the start? Instead, they had to drug me and ruin my life. This man, whom I trusted completely when I returned. I hoped he would be like other fathers, a mountain of support for his own child, yet every time I was framed or misunderstood, he would only coldly say to me, "Why do others only target you and not bully anyone else? Dina, you should look more into yourself for the reasons." At that moment, I completely understood. This so-called father is neither trustworthy nor reliable. The only person I can rely on is myself. I smiled, but I'm not willing to. The Hu family isn't as complicated as you say. And I won't be devoured to the bone. Grandpa Hu promised to protect me and keep me worry-free for life. I don't think I'll suffer if I marry into their family. Father Jiang saw he couldn't win the argument. In anger, he threw the teacup in his hand and glared at me fiercely. "Ungrateful daughter. Since when do you get to decide whether you're willing or not? Today, whether you agree or not, you will have to step aside. The good marriage of the Hu family must belong to your sister Lena. Someone, lock her in the cold storage, no food or water until she says she agrees. Let's see how long she can hold out." Father Jiang's words made my heart ache so much it trembled. Locked in the cold storage. This was their most common method to deal with disobedient me. They knew I was afraid of the dark. Knowing I had health issues from my time in the orphanage and couldn't withstand the cold, so every time I didn't comply with their wishes, they deliberately locked me in there, watching me suffer inside. Only when I was broken to tears, begging on my knees, would they feel satisfied. The words fell. 2 bodyguards stepped forward from the side and twisted my arms. Lena Jiang looked at me with sarcasm. Jiang Chaoyang stood by indifferently. My parents would rather see me dead. Could it be that even in this second life, I cannot escape the fate of being married off? Just when I thought I was about to be humiliatingly locked in the cold storage, a cold, Deep voice sounded from behind. Where are you taking my fiancé? I turned around and saw the stern-faced Huitingxian, who had somehow entered without me noticing. He was dressed in a well-tailored dark suit. The Buddhist prayer beads he always wore on his wrist added a touch of serenity to his presence. But I only glanced at him briefly. He scared Mr. Jiang, who had just been baring his fangs at me, into turning pale. We were just joking with our daughter. Why didn't young Master Hua give us a heads up before coming over? Huitingxian responded with a cold smirk. Do I need to inform you wherever I go? Besides, if I had informed you in advance, would I have been able to witness such a spectacular scene? So it turns out my future father-in-law wanted to take matters into his own hands and change my bride for me. What do you mean, change the bride? At some point, Ezra Sai also walked in. He looked at me with disgust, then glanced at the pitiful Lena Jiang and the suddenly appearing Huitingxian with wariness, saying, Hua Xiao, is Dina Jiang up to some tricks again, trying to pull a switcheroo and make Lena marry you? Let me tell you, Hua Xiao, the one engaged to you is Dina Jiang, not Lena Jiang at all. Lena Jiang and I grew up together as childhood sweethearts, and we were betrothed to each other since childhood. We are deeply in love and have long pledged our lives to each other. You must not be deceived by Dina Jiang or believe her nonsense about sisters swapping marriages. As the words fell, the faces of Mrs. Jiang and Lena Jiang turned pale. Yet Ezra Sai remained oblivious and continued to scold me. Huitingxian looked at the incessantly chattering Ezra Sai, exuding an overwhelming sense of pressure. You're saying the idea of switching brides was Dina's? Ezra Sai nodded in confusion. Huitingxian added, but as far as I know, that's not the case. If I had arrived just a few minutes later, the father of your so-called good sister would have locked Dina in the freezer, forcing her to agree to marry you, just to clear the way for his precious daughter, Lena Jiang, to become the young mistress of the Hua family, the one who's been desperate to become Mrs. Hua has never been Dina. I remember the Sai family's patriarch wasn't so foolish a decade ago. How did he end up with such an ignorant grandson, easily manipulated by others? Do you even know that the person I'm engaged to has always been Dina Jiang? She is the only one I recognize as my wife. If any of you still dare to think of pulling a bait-and-switch, don't blame the Hua family for being ruthless. We'll make sure they can't survive in Beijing anymore. Ezra Sai was as if struck by lightning. He looked at Lena Jiang in disbelief. Lena Jiang, feeling guilty, didn't dare to meet his gaze. Finally, he forced a pale smile and self-justified, saying, Lena, you don't need to explain. I know Uncle Jiang must have forced you, right? I know I'm the only one in your heart. It's just that you're not his biological daughter, so you don't dare to resist, right? Lena Jiang heard these words. She nodded hurriedly. Brother Ezra Sai, you still understand me best. I'm just an adopted daughter. How dare I disobey father's orders? But in my heart, there has only ever been you. Upon hearing this, the Jiang family immediately felt as disgusted as if they'd swallowed a fly. Mother Jiang's hand unconsciously loosened its grip. Jiang's father also gave her an ambiguous glance. Even the usually thick-skinned Jiang Chaoyang felt uncomfortable hearing this. Watching this scene, I found it amusing. The perfect alliance had developed a crack. Don't rush, their appetite wasn't satisfied. This rift will only grow wider in the future. By the end of the day, I was taken away by Huitingxian. He said he wasn't comfortable with me continuing to live here. I knew he meant well. It was also for Grandpa Hua's orders. I obediently followed him without protest. Having been given a second chance at life, I won't put myself in any danger again. Just as Huitingxian and I were about to leave, Ezra Sai stopped me at the door. He leaned in close and said, Dina Jiang, I know you've been reborn too. I'm glad you didn't pester me in this lifetime. But even if we couldn't become husband and wife, there was no need for you to give up on yourself. Why did you still choose to marry Huitingxian when you clearly knew he was an absurd domestic abuser? Could it be that you truly are, as Lena said, a woman who would stop at nothing to climb the social ladder? I gave Ezra Sai a disappointed look. This man who has been entangled with me for 2 lifetimes, we've been together for over 20 years and even had a son, although most of the time, we were quarreling. But he should know, I am a person who clearly distinguishes between love and hate. Love is love, hate is hate. I have never stooped to playing tricks. After all, those sneaky and shameless things were done by his beloved Lena Jiang. In the end, he still underestimated me, but it's fine, to me now. He is already a stranger, his opinion of me doesn't matter in the slightest, I said coolly. Who I marry and what I choose to do has never been any of your business. Besides, I know Hu Tingshan far better than you ever could. That nonsense about him being some violent abuser is just what your precious Lena Jiang told you. You fool. With that, I ignored the anger on Ezra Sai's face. I walked away without looking back. This time, I won't stop him and his dear Lena anymore. I just wonder if there will be the happy ending you've dreamed of. I was taken by Hu Tingshan to one of his private estates. After that, he left. Our wedding is scheduled for half a month later. I heard that Lena Jiang and Ezra Sai's wedding has also been put on the agenda, but for some reason, the exact date hasn't been decided yet. I've been staying here for about 10 days. Hu Tingshan has never shown up, yet any jewelry I casually compliment as beautiful would appear before me the very next day. I mentioned the clothing brands I liked wearing, and the next day someone would deliver everything to me. I said I wanted to eat from a certain restaurant, and that very evening, the chef from that restaurant would appear at the estate to cook for me personally. It was meticulous to the extreme. I never expected Hu Tingshan to be so obedient to his grandfather, take such good care of me, but if he treated Lena Jiang the same way in their past life, why couldn't she resist the loneliness and went out looking for male models? I thought about it for a long time. Finally, I came to the conclusion that Lena Jiang simply didn't know what was good for her. With such a wonderful husband, even if we don't see each other for a year, what is there to feel lonely about? I can spend my whole life with my grand estate, jewelry, and handbags. The day before the wedding, I went back to the Jiang family one more time. The Jiang family is about to connect with the Hu family through me, a connection they could only dream of before. How could I not come to collect some interest? My past life experience has taught me, emotions are useless in negotiations. Only money and power can truly nourish a person. Under the resentful gaze of Mr. Jiang, I took over a subsidiary company specializing in construction. I also claimed 5% of the Jiang family's shares, just like with Lena Jiang and Jiang Chaoyang. Dina, you really are quite the strategist. I smiled faintly, holding the equity contract. He showed no mercy at all. But the benefits of forming a marriage alliance with the Hu family far outweigh these trivial gains. Mr. Jiang must have already calculated this. For instance, whether the Jiang family can secure that piece of land in the east of the city depends entirely on Tingshan's word. Hearing me address him as Mr. Jiang, Father Jiang's face twisted momentarily, but soon he let it go. He has always been a competent businessman. He looked at me with a beaming smile. Dina, Dad always knew you'd be the most successful among all the kids. The Jiang family will depend on you from now on. Yes, it will depend on me. However, the person in charge of the Jiang family will have to be someone else in the future. Outside the study, as dumb as a pig, Jiang Chaoyang, who was casually used as a pawn by Lena Jiang, clearly wasn't qualified enough. When I left the Jiang family, only Jiang Chaoyang came out barking like a dog, telling me not to get too cocky, saying I should wait to be discarded by the Hu family and thrown out like a dog. Jiang's mother looked at me with a heavy gaze. That look was nothing like how a mother would look at her own child. After staring at me for a long while, she said, Dina, are you really going to compete with Lena? I studied deeply the woman who had given birth to me but had never loved me, said Mrs. Jiang. But it's not me who's competing with her. Have you forgotten? Unlike you, from the very beginning, it was me whom the Hu family and Hu Tingshan chose. Mrs. Jiang was stunned when she heard how I addressed her. When I first came back, she never allowed me to call her mom in front of outsiders, because she was afraid others would question the identity of her beloved daughter, Lena Jiang. But I never agreed. I don't understand why, even though I'm clearly her child. Why can't I openly call her mom? For this title, she locked me in the freezer countless times. Yet even after starving for 3 days and nights at -20 degrees, I still wouldn't change. In the end, seeing how stubborn I truly was, Mother Jiang decided never to appear with me in any public setting again. In my past life, even my wedding with Ezra Sai, she didn't attend. Fearing gossip that it might be unfair to Lena Jiang, she didn't participate at all. This mom is my obsession from a past life. But now, I've let go. Mother Jiang gave me a deep look. In the end, she said nothing. I know, in this lifetime, the bond between us as mother and daughter has come to an end. After handling everything, I left the Jiang family. It was just strange that Lena Jiang didn't show up. Nor did she give me any trouble. But it's good that she didn't come out to be a nuisance. Tomorrow I'm getting married. I don't think she dares to cause any more trouble. But even if she tries anything, I'm not afraid. I was married at the Hua family's estate. After returning to the Jiang family, I didn't make any friends because of Lena Jiang. Hua Tingshan was particularly thoughtful and asked his cousin Hua Xiaoxiao to be my bridesmaid. Hua Xiaoxiao is a very adorable and considerate young girl. From the morning bridal procession to the subsequent ceremonies, she took great care of me. Until our wedding concluded, she and I waited together in the hotel room for Hua Tingshan, who was still socializing outside, to return before heading back to the old Hua family residence together. But the two of us waited in the room for a very long time. Hua Tingshan didn't come in either. I called him but no one answered. Hua Xiaoxiao went out to look for him but couldn't find him. Just as I was about to go out to search too, one of the girls who had spread rumors about me with Lena Jiang rushed in, panting heavily. Oh no, Lena got drunk and fell asleep in the room. Who knew Mr. Hua would walk in? Then, whether he mistook Lena for Dina or not, now they are. Anyway, you all should go check it out quickly. I clenched my fists tightly. So this was Lena Jiang's trap all along, ruined my wedding, then replaced me. By the time we reached that house, quite a crowd had already gathered outside. When they saw me coming, none could hide their expressions of either sympathy or schadenfreude. Lena Jiang's soft moans continuously came from inside the room. Everyone knew exactly what kind of good thing was happening in there. Hua Xiaoxiao looked at me with concern and said, "Sister-in-law, don't worry. It must be a misunderstanding." I responded with a cold laugh. Whether it's a misunderstanding, you'll know once you push this door open. But before I could push the door open, a figure rushed towards me. The next second, Ezra Sai had a firm grip on my neck. "Dina Jiang, was it you who did this? How can you be so vicious? Even now, you still haven't given up on harming Lena. Do you really want to marry me that badly? But I would never marry you. I don't love you at all. You should have known that long ago. Even if I were to die, I would never love a woman as cruel as you." Ezra Sai's words left my heart utterly bitter. I am the villainess, but if I weren't the villainess, I would have died long ago in the orphanage. For 20 years, I've been entangled with Ezra Sai. He always knows exactly where to stab me to make it hurt. But this time, I won't go down without a fight. I kicked Ezra Sai hard in the chest, then I grabbed his hair and slapped his face over a dozen times. I plotted against her. Use your pig brain to think, what benefit would I get from scheming against her at my own wedding? Also, I still want to marry you. A fool like you can't compare to even 1/10,000th of our Tingshan. Madam is right, I am indeed a million times better than you. Amid the shocked gazes of Ezra Sai and the crowd, Hua Tingshan, who should have been in the room entangled with Lena Jiang, emerged from behind them. He said in disbelief, "Hua Tingshan, what are you doing here?" Hua Tingshan smiled faintly, then he gently helped me up from the ground. "The reason I'm here is, of course, because I knew my wife was being bullied. So I came to stand up for her. Some say it was Ardina who drugged the people inside, so I just went to check the surveillance footage, and now I've sent it to your phones. Once you watch it, you'll know who's really the thief crying 'Stop thief.'" Lena Jiang's girlfriends hurriedly opened their phones. They saw the person they had drugged and brought in. It was nowhere near being Hua Tingshan. Instead, it was a 50-something-year-old from a collateral branch of the Hua family. Not only had this man achieved nothing significant over the years, but he was also riddled with venereal diseases. He was widely known in their circle as a filthy scoundrel. This time, Lena Jiang has truly played herself into ruin. Ezra Sai looked in disbelief as Lena Jiang personally drugged a glass of wine, then took it to toast to Hua Tingshan. After that, she came to this room to wait. Is there anything still unclear, from start to finish? This entire matter has been Hua Tingshan playing the thief crying 'Stop thief.' Hua Tingshan looked amusedly at the distraught Ezra Sai. Satisfied now, Your dear sister who shares such a deep bond with you has been looking down on you all along, dreaming of climbing the social ladder, but this time her attempt failed, and it's unlikely anyone else in the circle would be willing to marry her now. Your beloved sister will probably have no choice but to settle for you. Hurry back and enjoy your secret delight. In a few days, Dina and I will be waiting to toast at your wedding banquet." Ezra's sigh collapsed to the ground with a defeated expression, then he looked at me with a pale face, muttering under his breath, "Was I wrong, Dina? She was like this in her past life, wasn't she? Why didn't you tell me? It was my mistake. Whether Ezra Sai is right or wrong is none of my business. This is all he deserves." In the evening, Hu Tingshan and I returned to the Hu family home together. He was as gentlemanly as ever. We slept in the same bed, yet he never once overstepped his bounds with me. The Buddhist prince of the capital circle truly lives up to his reputation. Yet, for some unknown reason, when I woke up in the morning, I found our limbs entwined, holding each other tightly. The intimate posture was enough to make one's heart race and cheeks flush. For the next few days, it was the same every day. No one knew who hugged whom first. Waking up in the morning, in that position, and facing such a handsome face, I'm really afraid I might lose control. But remembering how Lena Jiang was treated in her past life, I still don't dare to act recklessly. I heard that even when she stripped naked to seduce him, Hu Tingshan remained unmoved. She was even driven out of the ancestral home. The food here is so delicious, and Grandpa Hua is also very kind to me. I definitely won't do anything foolish. Lena Jiang is done for. Ezra Sai has seen her true colors and refuses to marry her no matter what. The Jiang family completely gave up on her. My mother, who only loved Lena Jiang, kicked her out of the house the very next day after learning of this scandal. Mr. Jiang even considered marrying her off to a 50-year-old distant relative of the Hu family. Lena Jiang threatened to commit suicide. Mr. Jiang remained unmoved. In the end, it was Jiang Chaoyang who ran away with her. When I heard about this, everything suddenly became clear to me. No wonder Jiang Chaoyang treated Lena Jiang so well. Whenever she shed a single tear, he would punish me without even asking for the facts. It turned out he had long harbored impure thoughts toward Lena Jiang. The Jiang family's son eloped with the adopted daughter who had committed the disgraceful act. With such a scandal breaking out, Mr. Jiang collapsed. He was hospitalized and even suffered from hemiplegia. I didn't go to see him, because during this time, I've been studying with Hu Tingshan, and he taught me a trick. It's called strike while the iron is hot. I used the 100 million dowry Hu Tingshan gave me to invest in the small company the Jiang family gave me. During the time when Jiang's father was hospitalized, several major deals from their headquarters were snatched away, taking advantage of their falling stock prices. They aggressively bought up their shares. Just as Jiang's father's health showed slight improvement, he received another piece of devastating news. That was, the leadership of the Jiang family had changed hands, not the son he favored the most, nor the adopted daughter he once loved the most, but me. Upon hearing this news, Father Jiang immediately had a distorted mouth and slanted eyes. Another stroke. I heard he's completely paralyzed this time. Can't even get out of bed. Jiang's mother came to see me later. She confronted me, asking why I was so cruel, why I wanted to wipe them out completely. I sized up the woman standing before me. Because of successive blows, the calmness on her face was gone. Deep wrinkles covered her forehead, and her once well-maintained black hair had turned gray. How nice. This time, the one in pain wasn't me. I took a sip of coffee and said leisurely, "Madam Jiang, back then, did you ever show me the slightest bit of mercy? If I were at a disadvantage, would you spare me a way out? Don't come looking for me in the future. If you need me to support you, you can sue me in court. I will provide you with a pension according to the legally determined standard." Mother Jiang, still unwilling to accept the situation, tried to make a scene but was forcibly removed by security. Just a few days later, I heard she was also hospitalized. Because her son and beloved adopted daughter had died, Jiang Chaoyang and Lena Jiang were initially inseparable for a long time. He swore and cursed, vowing that he would never look down on Lena Jiang, but later, he discovered countless lumps growing all over his body. That area also developed cauliflower-like growths. It was both painful and agonizing. It made him feel as though life was worse than death every single moment. He wanted to go to the hospital to get treatment. But he found out that this illness was incurable. He began to blame each other with Lena Jiang. Lena Jiang was no longer lovely and became aggressive. Jiang Chaoyang couldn't bear it anymore and wanted to return to the Jiang family. Although the Jiang family was no longer influential, his mother loved him so much, she would definitely get him treated. But how could Lena Jiang possibly agree to that? She must not be left alone in hell, overcome by malice. She stabbed Jiang Chaoyang to death with a fruit knife from the table, then she jumped off a building and ended her own life. The Jiang family received one piece of bad news after another, but I was in a very good mood. The company is thriving under my leadership. Everyone praises me for overcoming a troubled background and standing on my own feet. There's just one thing that bothers me. Ezra Sai, for some inexplicable reason, keeps coming to the company to see me every day. At first, it was sending flowers, then it escalated to giving gifts. All were things I once wanted, but he ended up giving them to Lena Jiang instead. When he came to wait for me at the company building yet again, I finally agreed to meet him. With him pestering me like this every day, I didn't want to give anyone the chance to twist it into gossip. Seeing me appear, Ezra Sai looked excited. Dina, you're finally willing to see me. Are you still blaming me? He lowered his head with a bitter smile. I know I was terribly wrong, mistaking fish eyes for pearls. I blamed you for a lifetime and ruined your life as well. I never imagined Lena Jiang could be such a vicious person. Dina, I truly owe you an apology. I stared at him coldly. Yes, you certainly do owe me. In my past life, all those countless days and nights of being let down and neglected, he will always owe me. 2 lines of tears streamed down Ezra Sai's face. I truly know I was wrong. Can you give me a chance to make it right? I know you have no feelings for Huitingshan. Dina, we spent 20 years together in our past life. No one understands each other better than we do, and besides, we have a child together. Give me a chance to be with you again and bring our child back. Okay, Ezra Sai looked at me with hopeful eyes, hoping I would agree to bring our son back together. But, what child? Huitingshan, who had arrived at some unknown time, he walked up to me and said gently with his strikingly handsome face. Didn't we agree to keep it confidential for the first 3 months? Sweetheart, why did you casually tell outsiders about the pregnancy now? Huitingshan looked as if struck by lightning, his face full of hurt as he stared at me. Dina, you're pregnant. I touched my belly. Yes, I'm pregnant. What's wrong with creating a little life with the one you love? Ezra Sai's body swayed slightly. He opened his mouth, wanting to say more, but not a single word came out. In the end, I could only laugh and cry, saying, I was wrong. I don't deserve you. Dina, I'm sorry. This apology was something I waited for my entire previous life. But now, I no longer need it. Ezra Sai has left. Watching his retreating figure, Huitingshan let out a deep sigh of relief. Finally got rid of that troublemaker. If he ever bothers you again, tell me first. Don't go to see him alone. This adorable expression is nothing like the aloof Buddha of Beijing's elite circle. I looked at him with amusement and said, our Buddha of Beijing's elite circle also has moments of such lack of confidence. You even pretended I was pregnant. Are you really that insecure? Yet Huitingshan didn't refute me. His face flushed. He took my hand and said, you know, I have no confidence in front of you. Dina, haven't you noticed my feelings for you all this time? Of course I noticed. The jewelry I glanced at, which appeared on my dressing table the very next day. Those chefs who I tasted once and said were delicious, only to have him poach them away the very next day, and the countless times he helped me at just the right moment, and in my past life, after I died, he sat by my grave for 3 days and 3 nights. If I still don't understand, I'm just an idiot. I reached out my hand, hooked his finger in return. Then, Mr. Hua, would you like to hear my confession? Huitingshan looked at me expectantly, then he heard me say, I like you too, overjoyed. Huitingshan lowered his head and kissed me deeply on the lips. I was so foolish. I should have confessed earlier. Otherwise, when the slap comes today, there really will be a baby. But I think it's just right, just in time. I regain my confidence. Just in time. You love me too.